It's 6 o'clock, and we start tonight with an Indiana State Senate candidate who says there's been a campaign by the White House and the governor's office to get her to drop out.
So the Senate seat in question tonight is in District 38, held by a Republican state senator. We've got our State House reporter Emily Longnecker in studio tonight to explain how this story came together. Emily?
Yeah, folks. Well, the candidate is Alexandra Wilson. She is a Republican, and she's challenging Republican State Senator Greg Good in next month's primary. She's not the only Republican challenger Good is facing, though. There's a third candidate also challenging Good. That's not the only thing that candidate has in common with Alexandra Wilson. That third candidate has the same last name. She is a Vigo County councilor, and her name is Brenda Wilson. But Brenda Wilson has been endorsed by President Trump, and that's where this gets interesting. Alexandra Wilson says in February, several White House officials reached out and spoke on the phone with her, basically asking her what it would take for her to drop out of the race.
I did let them know that it would have to be something drastic because of my interest for what's going on in my district to get me to remove myself. As soon as I got off the call with him, not even 5 minutes later, I received a text message that the governor's office would be reaching out because they might be able to get me on a boards and commissions position.
In the days that followed, Wilson says she got a text from the governor's chief of staff asking Wilson to contact him. She says she also got a message from the lieutenant governor. Wilson says she never returned those messages. Now, we reached out to the lieutenant governor about Wilson's claims. He told me in a text, quote, "I've never asked her to drop out of the race. I've never even talked to her." Beckwith did acknowledge leaving Wilson a voicemail asking her to call him back, but says she never did. A spokesperson for the governor issued a statement which said, quote, "We receive hundreds of referrals for Hoosiers interested in serving in our state, and it is standard practice that we follow up on those leads." Mrs. Wilson was one of many who have been referred to our office. Mr. Kelly reached out and she did not respond. Now, Wilson has also faced legal challenges from a prominent Republican attorney challenging her right to be on the ballot in the first place. Those challenges have so far been unsuccessful, but you can read the details of those attempts and how Wilson is responding on WTHR.com.
Emily, what's the White House saying about these claims?
Okay, so we reached out to the White House, and White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed Alexandra's story, saying, quote, "This is what the political team does," saying ultimately these decisions come from the president himself. And we know President Trump said he would support primary challenges to any Indiana lawmakers who voted against redistricting. And Greg Good was one of those lawmakers who said no to the push to redraw Indiana's congressional districts. And we reached out to both Senator Good and Brenda Wilson, who are also running. We did not hear back, though, from either of them.
We know you'll stay on top of it, Emily. Thanks so much. And you can keep up with the latest political headlines by checking out our weekly streaming show, which is called Crossroads Politics. In this week's episode, Emily and Dustin cover the conflict in Iran, immigration, and gearing up for the May primaries. That airs at 10 o'clock Sunday morning on our free streaming app, WTHR+. Rob?
Well, we are looking at a front pushing across the area, and you can see it in the temperature map from 52 in Kokomo to 72 in Columbus, 20 degrees of separation across the area. The front is moving through. It's kicking off a few showers. Most of those are now farther to the south. We do expect rain chances through the next several hours, but overall it is a drying forecast as we get that front to push out of here. Clear the skies during the overnight. Temperatures will drop a bit as that cooler air settles in. 40s expected during the overnight to the south, 30s to the north. Bit of a chilly start to your Saturday, but we expect the temperatures to warm up into the mid to upper 60s as a few more clouds fill in during the afternoon. Otherwise, a sunny day on Saturday. The Sunday forecast is coming up.
All right, Rob, thanks so much. Other news now. Police in Hamilton County tonight are speaking out. They're urging parents to make sure they had these important conversations with their kids about online exploitation.
All of this comes after a senior at Fishers High School was arrested for exploiting at least 10 underage victims here in Indiana and in other states. Tonight, our Ashton Hackman shares the warning from police.
This investigation began in late September when a parent found disturbing videos on their child's phone, so they reported it to police here in Hamilton County. And that 6-month investigation uncovered a teen preying on younger children in multiple cities across Indiana and in several states. From all over Hamilton County to as far west as Oklahoma and Kansas, investigators say 18-year-old Carson Springer met his victims both in person and online. The investigation started when the parents of a 14-year-old girl found explicit videos of the teen with Springer. When police searched Springer's phone, they reportedly found child sex abuse material he saved from at least 10 underage girls. 3 of the victims were AI-generated images. Police say Springer shared the explicit images and videos with other users online.
More and more young people are becoming perpetrators of crimes against other children using online tools. We really need to also be teaching parents about how to have those conversations with their youth, about how to use those applications responsibly so that they're not perpetrating those crimes on their peers.
Police say that conversation is never too early.
Before something like this happens, they need to start very young. I'm very big, if a kid can talk about internet safety, because kids are using devices very early in life.
And so are predators. Last year, Indiana's Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force investigated nearly 30,000 online tips regarding child pornography or exploitation.
Don't be afraid to report it. And number 2, don't delete stuff off the child's phone. Block the suspect, block the other person who's making the problem with your child. That's fine, but keep everything on the device.
In Fishers, Ashton Hackman, 13 News.
Springer faces 13 felony charges and is expected to be back before a judge in June. His attorney declined to comment.
Behind me is what's left of an apartment building that was under construction that caught on fire Friday morning here at the Compass Park Retirement Community. About 60 firefighters from all over Johnson County fought this fire for about 2.5 to 3 hours before they got it under control. Even late on Friday afternoon, firefighters were still putting water on hot spots. This new part of the building was set to open in about 100 days. It is attached to a part of the building that is occupied. About 55 people were evacuated within 17 minutes of the fire alarm on Friday morning. But there were no injuries. Everyone evacuated safely, staff and residents.
Heads up if you're driving near downtown Indy this weekend. The southbound lanes of I-65 will be closing tonight. That way crews can remove the abandoned railroad bridge near Fletcher Avenue. Crews already removed the portion sitting over the northbound lanes of I-65. Ramp closures begin tonight at 8 from the I-65 and I-70 interchange north of downtown to Fletcher Avenue. The interstate closes tonight at 9 and then will reopen by 5 o'clock on Monday morning.
Just days after the college basketball national championship came here to Indianapolis, then a new group moved in. We got the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority taking the reins at the convention center. They're having their annual conference for the central region.
Yeah, they welcome thousands of members here to Indianapolis. You've probably seen them wearing pink and green downtown. Tonight, Brandon Schaff explains how our city is able to quickly transition between these large events.
Downtown Indy is transforming once again after hosting the Final Four. The March Madness bracket is coming down, the Indy 500 logo is going up, and at the Convention Center, just days after FanFest welcomed tens of thousands of fans, a new event is already being hosted.
Indy is returning back to normal after hosting its 9th men's Final Four last weekend. For days, the Indiana Convention Center was home to Final Four FanFest. But now, the Alpha Kappa Alpha 92nd Central Regional Conference has taken over. About 5,500 members from 8 states came for the annual conference this weekend. Visit Indy says it's a collaborative effort between hotels and local organizations to quickly transition from one event to the next.
It was 2 days later, and I tell you, the Indianapolis Convention Center, Visit Indy, everyone did a Herculean job to make sure that Alpha Kappa Alpha could move in on the heels of the NCAA.
After the energy felt during the Final Four, Indy will soon shift its focus to the much anticipated month of May. Brandon Schaff, 13 News.
Well, we do expect a chilly start to the weekend forecast, but we're going to warm up pretty nicely as the weekend progresses. And we'll talk about when 80s return as well.